Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm your co-founder, John Henry. Tonight is our Educational Thursday segment. We are kicking off another segment that's going to impact our community with information. So excited about tonight. Before we get started, just want to send a couple of thank yous and shout outs because, in this work, there's a lot of things that's taking place and happening as you transition. And we know this negative energy sometimes coming to the community, coming to the people that's doing great work. And it's just good to have good people around that are inspiring and doing amazing things. So I just wanted to shout out Karen Rowe, the director of our development and child services in San Francisco. Had an amazing conversation with her, and the sister just inspired me today. And it's people like that keep you going, that's hungry, that want to do the work, that's about making change and impact the community. And I think that's what all this is about, and just getting connected with people that's doing great things in our community. Looking forward to her and her segment next week on our Hidden Gem show. But I had to shout her out because, again, it's people like that in our community that keep us energized, keeps us going, and they for the people and they for the movement and making things better and holding people accountable and doing the right things. So shout out to her. And then I want to shout out to my guy, Uncle Stank over there at Ella Hill Hutch, man, good brother, and as we come up, I always talk about bridging the gap between the young people and the old people and the elders of the community, but however you want to put it. But it was nice just to have a conversation with a good brother, that's always giving wisdom and game. And that's what this is all about. So shout out to Uncle Stank over there doing his thing, handling his business. And shout out to the staff over there at Ellie Hill Hutch is doing an amazing thing for our community. And just proud of that, brother. And just thank you for the conversation, the words of wisdom and encouragement, because that's what we need. We all go through this work, we all learning, and we all go through things. And it's good to just have people give you good advice and good wisdom. So shout out to Uncle Stank, man. And that's very powerful. And with that being said, we're gonna continue to do what we do. We'll continue to rock. We'll continue to push this thing forward. We have some amazing things coming up here at both sides of the conversation. The community is getting behind us. I see the support. Shout out to the Roots founders and Dr. Noah and them over there doing their thing, man. Just a lot of love and support. And we thank you guys because we can't do this without the support of the community and the people. So thank you guys for stepping up and being behind us and trying to work with us and trying to get this message out to community, especially when it comes to our Black and brown people, when it comes to health, wellness, and finances. We have to always stay on top of that. So just proud of community coming together, unifying, and just excited. And for all you guys that don't know, this weekend we will be hosting the first Unsung Heroes and Sheroes of San Francisco for a Black History event. Shout out to Queen Vanessa putting this thing together. Shout out to all the people that's been working to make this happen. We're having a pre-party tomorrow. Looking forward to community showing up. And then we'll have the event on Saturday. Very impactful for the community. Black San Francisco, we see you. We here. We're going to continue to keep working to unify. It takes time to get to where we need to go, but we continue to keep pushing. So just happy to be a part of that. And we just go keep this thing moving. And we'll see how everything plays out in the future for community. So with that being said, we're going to get to our Educational Thursday guest tonight. We have a powerful sister that's going to come give our community information that we need. Because I know in these times of challenges and work shift and things happening in this pandemic, one thing we want to stay focused on is our finance, because we want to keep our credit and things in order so that we can make the proper investment, especially with home ownership is big here in the Bay Area with all of the gentrification, our people being pushed out. And the only way we can stay here and impact the community and be around is we have to have ownership in businesses, ownerships in homes, and it starts with credit and finances. And we have a powerful sister that's going to give us an amazing presentation tonight. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce her. Leslie Mitchell is a wonderful wife. She's been married for 21 years. She has two beautiful children. She's the CEO of MindWorks Solutions and the TV show host Woman on Assignment. Today, she will be presenting on faith and finances, shifting your three digits. Proud to have her on here. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to the sister and let her go ahead and talk to the people and give y'all this presentation tonight. Leslie.
Wow, thank you so much, John. Thank you so much. And thank you for both sides of the conversation for having me on tonight. I am super excited. I am humble and honored to be a part of what you all are doing. I was just listening to everything that you were saying, what you're doing in the community, and I am just like, wow, that is amazing. And so I just want to give it back up to you and everything that you all are doing with both sides of the conversation. And so, as John has already mentioned, my name is Leslie T. Mitchell. I am out of South Florida. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me before we get into the notes and bolts about shifting your 3 digits during the pandemic. And no, I'm not talking about your area code. I am talking about that credit score. And so just a little bit, about me and who I am and how I got started in this industry and how it became so passionate a thing of mine. I was someone who worked in the corporate world. I did very well. I climbed the corporate ladder. I did all the things right that my parents told me to do. Go to school, get good grades, go to college. I graduated with honors. I graduated, with 2 master's degrees, and I was climbing the corporate ladder and doing all those things. And my father and mother both were in the financial industry. So my father laid a foundation for both my sisters and brothers and I. He taught us about credit at a very early age. He would always tell us that, you could have $0 in a bank, but if you have an 800 credit score, you can get anything you want with almost without hesitation. And so that was ingrained in me as a young person. And I made sure growing up that I maintained my credit. But how many of us know that life happens to people, right? And so, people get sick, people lose their jobs. We've seen this through the pandemic, right? People pay is decreased, people get divorced, like things happen in life that causes us to make decisions that impact our credit. It doesn't mean we are a bad person. It doesn't mean that maybe we don't know how to manage our money, but life just happens. Life shows up. And so in 2013, life happened to me. I was actually out on medical leave, recuperating from a major surgery. I was working in the corporate world at the time in training and development. And my job said, while I was out on medical leave, that my job was being displaced. Right, that they no longer needed me. They was letting your girl go. And, somebody who worked in a corporate, I did a lot, as we do for our jobs. I worked, nonstop hours. I saved this company tons, millions of dollars. And at my need, while I'm out on medical leave, my position is displaced. And at that time, listen, I had a 780 credit score. I owned a home. I had a nice car. I had all those things. But when my income stopped, when my income got pulled from up under me, my credit took a hit. Because why? I just had to pay some things late, pay my mortgage late, pay my car payment late. How we say, we living from paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have a paycheck coming in. And so my credit score went from a 780 to a 564 in just 3 short months, just like that. And so at the time, I really wasn't worried about my credit because, like I said, I owned a home. I owned 2 homes at the time. I had 3 cars, all of those things. But I knew eventually I was going to need my credit. And when I went to use it, I was denied because of that 564 credit score. And my father rang true. It didn't matter how much money you had in the bank. Those 3 digits dictated everything that I was able or not able to do. And so I knew I needed to do something, but I really didn't know what. And so I'm going to share with you, thank you. I'm going to share with you what I did and just kind of talk to you about why it's so important that we begin to shift our 3 digits, that we begin to understand what makes up our 3 digits, that credit score, because it's so essential and so key as to what we do today and going forward. Like John said, now is the time to really be thinking about home ownership because interest rates are at an all-time low. Now is the time to make sure we have our credit in order because credit allows us to what I like to call use OPM. That's other people's money. And so I'm going to talk to you, just kind of educate you around credit and something that you may didn't learn when you were growing up. That you want to learn now. There's always never a wrong time to learn some new information. And so really quickly, that's just a little bit about who I am, my story. I was able to go from a 564 credit score. Within 6 months, my credit score increased over 250 points by following some of these principles I'm going to share with you tonight. And I landed myself back in the 800 club within 6 months of me really deciding to make a shift in my 3 digits. And so I'm going to share that with you because what did that do for me? It gave me back my buying power. And that's really what it's all about having that buying power. So again, we're going to talk about faith and finances and shifting your 3 digits during the pandemic. I am a woman of faith. And so everything I do, I always center around God, because he is my source. And so without him, I am nothing. So I kind of already told you, pretty much about myself. And John kind of read my bio, so I'm just going to skip right through that. I already kind of told you. I told you what happened to me in the corporate world. And so that impacted my credit. And so one of the things that I want to ask you, and you can put it in the chat, when you hear the word credit, what really comes to mind when you hear that word credit? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you actually hear the word credit? So I'm going to give you a few moments and just, John, if you see anything in the chat, I always like to kind of, chat it out with people. If you see anything in the chat, just let me know. But I want to see, what comes to your thinking when you hear the word credit really quickly for me as we go through this presentation tonight. All right, and as us is coming in the chat. Okay, so here's the thing, I'm going to set the stage. Right now, here's the mindset, when it comes to personal finances and of the affairs of America right now today. This is what's happening right now today. About 61 million people have a credit score of less of 599. About 61 million people, and that number is growing tremendously. More than half of Americans don't even know their credit score, y'all. And it's okay. It is not okay, right? But we think it could be okay. When I'm talking to people constantly, the first thing I ask people, what's your credit score? And people begin to like, I'm not really sure. They begin to hem and haw because a lot of times we are afraid to look at that 3-digit. We're just afraid to know what it is. But you need to, now more than ever, you need to be on top of what your credit score is. And we're going to talk about that. The average debt is over $225,000, with many people, that's what people who own homes and things, but many people having less than what we call $500 in their savings account. We're talking about people who, this is even before the pandemic even happened, not having $500 in their savings account because of their credit maybe, or because whatever they're doing is simply not working. Because when you have that less than perfect credit, you're going to be paying more for things. So your score, your income is going to be impacted. 49% of people have no money saved up for retirement. And really only 18% of people know they are on track to reach their income goals. Why is that? Because when I worked in the corporate world, I'm going to be very transparent with you all. When I first started working in the corporate world and, we had a 401k account and they would say you could put the maximum in. I wasn't putting the maximum amount of money in. Why? Because I thought I needed my money in my paycheck, to make sure I could pay my bills. And so a lot of times we don't really think about retirement. We think that we have time, to save money. We're going to save money one day. And so we got to begin to make sure that we are looking at where our money is going and ensuring that we are saving appropriately, because there are so many senior saints, what I like to call them, who now don't even have $10,000 saved up. Right? They had to get second jobs before this COVID happened. You see a lot of our senior saints, working in the Walmarts as greeters. Maybe I live in Florida, so we have Publix, working in the Publix grocery stores, not because they didn't have anything to do, but really because that they needed additional income. And so we have to make sure we're thinking about, our income and for retirement. And so why is this the case? Really it's because our formal education, it really didn't teach us about personal finances or ownership, or even financial freedom. We didn't learn that growing up in school. I don't know about you, but even throughout college and high school, I didn't take a course on credit. No one talked to us about, what excellent credit was, what an 800 credit score could do versus the 500 credit score, how to manage our finances, how to get ourselves out of debt. That wasn't a class that I took. And so I'm not sure if you took that same thing, but the great thing about it is now I'm going to try to talk to you and educate you around some things that can help you make better decisions when it comes to your finances, and mainly starting off with your credit. So here's some things that I need for you to understand. Your credit score is like a vital sign. It is constantly being monitored. Somebody is looking at your credit all the time. If you've ever gotten some pre-approval in the mail, that's because somebody looked at your credit. Okay. And so you have to understand that your credit score impacts everything you do today. It determines your insurance premiums. It determines your interest rates. You can be denied the ability to rent, purchase, get a credit card, or even get employed, because 89% of employers right now, they pull credit checks. Even for a part-time job, they're pulling your credit to determine if you are a risk to them. Right? They're using their credit to determine what type of person you may be, even though there's no indication of your work ethic. Over the course of your lifetime, having less than excellent credit could cost you anywhere between $200,000 to $1 million because you're spending more for things because of your credit. When you have less than perfect credit, it costs you more money. And then 4 and 5 credit reports really have errors on them, causing people to have lower scores. Because frankly put, a lot of times we're not really paying attention to what's going on our credit. We sometimes we don't know until we go to try to apply for something, and then we are denied, and then that prompts us to go ahead and look at our credit. So we want to make sure we're on top of that. And so here's just some myths, we're going to talk about, because we hear a lot of what they say, right? And so whoever they are, right? And so one of the number one myths when it comes to credit is that credit agencies are empowered with some type of governmental authority. And so a lot of times we believe that because they call themselves credit bureaus. And when we hear the name bureau, what do? We associate that with the government, but really credit agencies have no legal authority at all. They're just simply privately held companies in the business of selling your credit information. So they have no legal authority, but we give them so much power over ourselves. So it's time for us to gain back our buying power. Myth number 2. Credit agencies are required by law to keep derogatory items on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. And so if you've ever heard that, I want you to drop something in the chat. If you've ever heard that, just drop, myth number 2, you've heard that before. Because a lot of times, if you've gotten your credit report, what does it say? When something's negative, this item is going to remain on your report to like 2025 or 2027, some long-term, period. But the truth is, there is no law that requires a credit agency to report anything on you at all. I want you to understand that that's not a law. That's just a policy in the procedures of the credit agencies that something has to stay on your report for 7 to 10 years. It's not a law. So just as your job have policy and procedures, so do the credit agencies. Now, here's the third myth. Information on your credit report cannot be changed, or it's illegal or immoral to have it altered. And so a lot of times we say, well, you know what? I really do owe the money. I really was late, but that's not really what the law is about. And so the opposite is true under what we call the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act was written in 1971 for the sole purposes of protecting you and I from the intrusion of credit agencies into our personal business. Because frankly put, it's no one's business if you had a bankruptcy, if you had a tax lien. That's your personal information. So really both the federal and various state laws require, you see this, it requires items to be removed if they are not what? 100% accurate or cannot be verified in a timely manner. So let's look at that 100% accurate. So let's say you have a credit card and they reported you late, right? But your balance is incorrect. They have your balance incorrect, or they have your name spelled wrong, or they have your address spelled wrong. It could be one little thing, one little thing, and it can legally have to be removed from your credit report. And that timely manner is generally within 30 to 45 days. Myth number 4, paying a past due debt removes it from your credit report. A lot of times when I'm talking to people, they say, well, Leslie, I'm just going to go ahead and pay that collection. It's not a lot of money. I'm just going to pay it. And then they pay it, and then they come back and say, but my credit stayed the same. It still says negative item. Exactly. So here's the thing that you have to understand when it comes to debt collection. You don't owe a collection company any money, because by law, you never made the agreement out with that collection company. You made it with the creditor. And so this is why when you talk to a collection company, the first thing they try to get you to do is what? Verify some type of information. They need you to verify the last of your social or your address. They need you to verify something, because until you verify the information, you don't owe them the money. Once you verify that, then you validate that you owe them the debt. So here's a tip for you when it comes to collection companies. You don't have to hide from them. You don't have to, block their numbers. You can answer your phone. And when they ask you to verify information, your response is, listen, I don't know you. I don't give my personal information out over the phone. Whatever you're talking about, send it to me in writing. I'll take a look at it and get back with you, and you hang up your phone. Because here's the thing, just because you pay an old debt does not erase or change the fact that at one time you didn't pay on it as agreed. But the question I need for you to understand is that this information can be changed, and so you don't have to pay a debt collector. So just make sure that you don't verify any information with them. Now, myth number 5, inquiries are not derogatory and they will not affect your credit standing. Okay. And so inquiries are, we have two types of inquiries really quickly. So you have hard inquiries and you have soft inquiries. So what is a hard inquiry? A hard inquiry is going to be anything that you initiate, right? You fill out an application for a credit card, you fill out an application for a loan, right? So you initiate that. That's considered a hard inquiry. A soft inquiry is going to be like for utilities or for employment, when you get pre-approvals in the mail, those are considered soft inquiries. So anything that erodes your financial credibility is damaging to your credit standing. And so in the case of inquiries, one or two is not bad, but you don't want to continue to allow people to pull your credit over and over again, especially when you know your score is not where it needs to be. Okay, because it begins to tell a story that you are desperate for credit. So then somebody will give you credit, but guess what's going to happen? You're going to pay some ridiculous interest rate. And so you want to be careful when it comes to allowing people to just pull your credit. Please make sure you use great judgment in that regard. And so let's talk about really quickly what makes up your credit score. Okay, because these three digits, we're talking about shifting your three digits, and these three digits, they really pretty much they determine a lot of things you can do today, right? They determine if you can get a home, if you can get a car, you know, if and all of those things. So this is how it's calculated. Your credit score goes from 300 to 850. All right. And so here's a pie chart for you. So the first 10% that we see here is the types of credit that you have. And so you need to have a good mix of credit. And so what's a good mix of credit? We have two types of credit. We have term and we have revolving. Term is like a car payment, a mortgage payment. You know exactly how many months you have to pay something off. Revolving is going to be like a credit card, your credit card debt. So you got to have a good mix. That's 10%. The next 10% is based on new credit. And new credit is going to be any credit that you have acquired within the past 2 years, right? So if you've gotten a new home, you got a new car, you got a new credit card, you got some new furniture on your credit card, that's going to be considered new credit. 15% is the length of your credit history. So how long have you been able to establish credit? Okay, which is why it's very key. If you have credit cards, you have to make sure if you pay them off, you never close them because you wipe out your length of your credit history. Now, the largest 2% of your credit score, here we are. 30% is the amount that you owe. All right. And so if you've ever seen a credit report or you looked at Credit Karma and they say your utilization rate is too high, or your utilization rate, they're talking about how much of your credit on your credit cards you are using. And so here's an example. If you have $1,000 limit on a credit card, your balance should never be more than 30% of that limit. So if you have $1,000, your balance should not be more than $300 on your credit card. Anything over that, then your score is going to go this way. Okay. And now the largest percent of your credit score is is your payment history. And so we got to make sure you're paying your bills on time or before time, because one late payment can drop your score anywhere between 20, 30, 40 points, depending on what your score already is. So make sure those things that are being reported on your credit report, you pay them on time, which is going to be like a car payment, student loans, mortgage, credit cards, personal loans. Those are things that are being reported on your credit on a monthly basis. So you can see here, the two largest percent of your credit is based on your own actions, how much you spend and how well you pay those things off. So you want to make sure you do that and keep those things in mind. You can take a picture of the screen so you can make sure you have it so you understand how your score is calculated. But let's talk about the impacts of credit on everyday, purchase things that we have, right? And so here's a couple of quick examples really quickly. So I told you auto insurance is determined by your credit report. A lot of people think it's by how many tickets you have. That does have something to play with it. But one of the major ways that determine what kind of tier you're going to be in when it comes to auto insurance is based on your credit. And so here's just a quick example to show you what's considered a low score between 620 and 675. That's considered low and average scores, right? So for an auto insurance premium, you could be paying $300 a month versus someone who has a high credit, which is considered 740 and higher. For that same type of policy, same type of card, they're paying about $100 versus you're paying $300. I know this to be true because when my credit score dropped to a 564, my car insurance for 3 cars jumped up to about $560 something for 3 cars because my credit score had dropped so low. When I got my credit score back up to around like 780, 760, 790, my car insurance for 3 cars went to like $300. So that's what I want you to understand when it comes to like everything we do is predicated on our credit, and we don't realize that. Here's another example: purchasing a home, right? I wish there are some homes for $100,000. There may be somewhere, but this is just for an example, okay? And so here it is, $100,000 house. Your low credit score is 620 to 675. We're talking about 7% interest. Your payment is about 665. This is, average. And so most people say, I can afford that. That's great. Okay. Now look at somebody who has a 740 and higher credit score. Their payment is only 477. Why is that? Because their interest rate is 4% versus the person who's paying 7%. So a lot of times we can afford to make the payment, but we're not looking at the interest. Because when you're talking about home ownership, most people do a mortgage for about 30 years. So look at these numbers, right? If you are a person who has excellent credit, you're saving close to $200 a month. For the year, you're saving about $2,200, but over 30 years, that's close to $70,000 you're saving in interest payments over the person who has a 620 credit score. That's a big difference. That's almost the purchase of another home in the savings. And then we'll go to buying a new car, right? And it used to be you couldn't get a new car, with a 620 or a 640 credit score, but you can get a new car. The only difference is that they're going to ask you to put a lot of money down, right? They're going to want you to put $5,000 down, $7,000 down, compared to somebody who has high credit, on a $25,000 car at 2.9%, they're paying about less than like 400 and something dollars a month versus someone who has less than perfect credit, their payment may be, even $100 more. So a lot of times when they have those commercials that's talking about zero down, zero interest, they're talking to people who have a high credit score, whether that's 740 or higher. So I just want you to start to think about that, because I've had clients, because I have clients who have, went out, it's tax season. A lot of people take their tax money, they go out and they go buy them a car. One of these buy here, pay here places, they're paying some ridiculous interest rate. One of my clients, he had bought a car, it was about 3 years old. He was paying like close to $500 a month. And after 3 years, the car was like, let's say the car was like $18,000. After 3 years, he still owed like $15,000 on the car. Why? Because his interest rate was like 28%. He wasn't even paying attention to this interest rate. He was just looking at the payment that he could afford it. So we got to be smarter when we're talking about our finances and we're talking about our credit. And so here's the good news. Like I told you before, you can restore your credit, through the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It gives every American the right to investigate or dispute any negative item on your credit report. If it's inaccurate, erroneous, obsolete, it could be a bankruptcy, a charge off, a foreclosure, a repossession, a tax lien, medical bills, student loans that's been defaulted upon. Anything can legally be challenged and removed from your credit, leveraging this Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is so key to helping us shift our 3 digits in the pandemic, And so really quickly, I do have another screen I'm going to show you really quickly, but I just want to stop here really quickly to see, if we have any questions out there, John, if we can do a quick question and answer, we have any questions out there, and I'm going to give everyone just my information, and they can get a copy of my free ebook on the 8 steps to excellent credit. I'll put that screen up in a second, but I just want to stop to see if there are any questions that the people have out there.
Right now, I don't see any questions. I've only been saying good information. That's all I'm hearing. So no questions, just good information.
Awesome. So I'm just going to talk really, just share with, everyone, and really, 4 quick things that you can do to really, get a handle on your credit in the pandemic, because right now is a good time to really look at your credit. There are a lot of programs with companies out there because of the pandemic that you can utilize to not have your credit altered. And so one of the first things you want to do is you want to get a copy of your credit report. Okay, you want to get a copy of your credit report. That's one thing that you definitely want to do right away. And you can go to annualcreditreport.com. You can go to annualcreditreport.com and you can pull a copy of your credit report. All 3 bureaus absolutely free. It used to be you can get one a year, but now you can get it every week because of COVID. And so you want to take advantage of that because you need to really look at what's on your credit. You need to know, what is on your, you don't want to be surprised. So I try to tell people stay away from the Credit Karmas and that kind of thing, because that's not a detailed report sometimes. So you want to go to annualcreditreport.com and get that detailed report. Then once you have that, the second thing you want to do during the pandemic to help you understand your credit is that if you are in a situation, if you have credit cards, mortgage, car payment, if you haven't already reached out to those companies, do so, because there are programs out there for forbearances for people. A lot of times, we think that we have to struggle during the pandemic, but we don't have to. There are a lot of programs. They're not going to call you and ask you. You need to reach out to them, right, and ask them what type of program, to let them know you may be still impacted, or you or whatever, right? But you want to take advantage of those programs out there, so your credit score won't be hindered from that. And then another thing you want to do, those things that are on your credit report, that bills you have, you want to make sure you're paying them on time. Again, even if you can't call the company, even if you just make a minimum payment, do that, because that late payment hurts you so much to pay late, and you don't really have to when you can just make a phone call. Trust me, just make a phone call to your student loan company, make a phone call to your mortgage company, make a phone call to your car, your company, or your landlord, whomever, and let them know your situation, so you're not hindering your credit on the back end. And so those would just be some quick tips I would tell people to do. Number one, you need to know what's on your credit first and get your report. That's going to be key. And so, John, I don't know, any questions out there? If you have a question that you think that you might want to ask, that somebody may think of, but let me pull up really quickly.
While you pulling it up, so they had these people out here that's promoting these boost your credit things. Some of those sites where you pay like $250 or $100 to boost your credit score, 200 points or whatever. Can you speak to those programs, those sites where they saying, hey, you click and pay here and it'll boost your credit score 25 points or 50 points overnight and things of that nature?
So there are some programs like that, so there are a few. I can't say that all of them are accurate, but there are the ones that I know about. And so one that I know that works very well for people who are renting, there is a program that's called Credit My Rent. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to put your on-time rental history payments on your credit report as a positive trade line on your credit to help you build your credit. So you're paying your rent on time, you might as well get credit for it. Like somebody who has a mortgage, they get credit on their credit report for paying their mortgage on time. If you're a renter, you can do that through a program that's called Credit My Rent. I give you my information, you can get more about that program. That is helping people. And I get a lot of clients, their score can go up anywhere between 40, 50, 60 points. I had one client, her score went up 99 points just by adding her rent on her credit. So there are some programs out there. That's one. The Experian, like the boost stuff, like to put your cell phone and to put your utilities on your credit and stuff like that, you can do that, but that not necessarily goes towards your FICO score. There's different scoring models. There's an Advantage score, and then there's a FICO scoring system. So those kind of boosts kind of go to your Vantage score. But the only thing, the downside to that is creditors, they use a FICO scoring model. They don't use the Vantage score model, which is what, like Credit Karma, when you go to Credit Karma, it may say your credit score is 680, but you go to the car lot and they say you got a 620. You like, Credit Karma said I had a 680, because Credit Karma is not your FICO score. It's what we call a consumer Vantage score. So there are a few programs that can help you boost your credit, but you have to be very careful with them and do your research. Because if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Thank you for addressing it, because I know a lot of people be talking about it, and I'm seeing people, and I just wanted to definitely let that information get out there. You have to be careful and understand what you're trying to do. So thank you for speaking to that.
Definitely. Another thing I would just say really quickly to help you, for those people who are looking to boost their score, the easiest, quickest way to boost your credit is two ways. Number one is to get a secure credit card. A secure credit card, you understand, it's like using your own money, putting it on a card. You leverage that and use it like a regular credit card. But you have to be careful, because there are some secure credit cards that do credit checks, which will hurt your credit. So, if you want to know about secure credit card, definitely you can connect with me and I'll give you one that that doesn't do a credit check. It reports to all 3 credit agencies as a positive trade line on your credit, so it will help you build your credit. Another way is to become an authorized user on someone else's credit. The only downside to that is that you want to know the person, right? Because whatever happens, whatever they do on that credit card is going to impact you. Okay, so it's not illegal. You can become an authorized user on someone's account, and you get all their credit history for that particular card, not their entire credit history, but for that particular card to help you build your credit. So that is something you can do. You just have to be careful. You want to do it for somebody who you know.
Great information. Great information.
All right, let me put this screen up. And so I'm going to give to you all, if you can take a screenshot of that and just text credit 101 to 22828, and you'll get a free copy of my ebook on the 8-step guides to repair and build credit towards excellent credit. That'll be my gift. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, you can follow me on all social media. On Instagram, I'm at Leslie T. Mitchell. On Facebook, it's Leslie Thomas Mitchell. And then I'll give you my business number if you want to reach out. If you have any questions, you can reach me at 954-309-1989. And so I do give out free credit consultations. And so if you would like to have a credit consult with me, you can go ahead and just hit me up at 954-309-1989 and schedule your free credit consultation with me.
Great information.
Thank you.
All right.
So that's it.
As we wrap this up, what a great presentation you put on for us. I don't see any comments. I just see a lot of great information. So that means the presentation was good. I think it was very helpful. I know here in the Bay Area, we are trying to impact the community intentionally, repairing their credit, saving money, setting budgets, getting ready, getting the financial literacy information that they need, because we are trying to get our people to get into this home ownership model. And it starts with this credit, and this credit, these numbers is very, very important to your success in buying a home. And we just got to keep pushing on it. And that's what we're going to keep doing here for these Educational Thursdays, is give the people the information. So we'll recycle this video in our group. We'll put it up on our YouTube so people who missed it can replay it and see it. I'm glad you put up your information. But again, community, here's a sister, somebody that look like us, trying to look out for us and make sure that we're doing the right thing so that we can become successful. And we know here at Both Sides of the Conversation, the only issue is the gap of information from us being where we need to be financially and passing that generational wealth. Here's another sister who care about you. See, when they say people don't give back, you heard her say she climbed the corporate ladder. We know here, as people climb the corporate ladder, as people climb the educational ladder, a lot of times they don't want to come back and give back to the community. This sister did climb the corporate ladder, and she coming back to hand the information back to the game to the community, so that we could go ahead and do the things we need to do to secure our financial future. So we appreciate you, Leslie, coming all the way from Florida, 3 hours away, late night, to come give everybody this information. So salute to you, and thank you for giving up your time to educate our people and help us get in our financial means together. We appreciate you, and thank you for coming on. That was beautiful. So with that being said, everybody, this is our Educational Thursday segment. Next Thursday, we will have another phenomenal sister, Simone Davis. She's going to come on here and talk about life insurance. We know that there's been a spike of crime and violence in our community, people being killed, things happening. This COVID has been taking a lot of people out, and we need to have the proper insurance protected so that we can leave generational wealth to our young people, to our families. And it starts by having insurance to protect our assets. So she's going to come on and give a powerful presentation about insurance, because we want to make sure. We tired of these GoFundMes. I'm tired of looking on Facebook, people dying, GoFundMe. Are we trying to do some kind of food drive to take care of the funerals and take care of the families? So this presentation from our young sister, she is one of our hidden gems. She's been on here. She is Miss Arizona. So this is going to be a special presentation from her next Thursday. We're going to be talking about insurance, and I think that's very important. And I think we got to keep talking about it and making sure that this is important, because I know sometimes in our Black and brown communities, when it comes to insurance, we have all these different thoughts and we think it's a jinx and all of this, but we need to have insurance because we never know when life is going to happen. We all have an appointment date that we're going to make, and we want to make sure that we're protected, our family is protected, it. And for our young people and for our families, that we leave generational wealth. So just excited about that. And then this Sunday, y'all know we've been kicking it off. Last week we kicked it off. We're having a 2-week health series. This week we're going to have our Black Panther Party come on. They're going to be talking about Black man, brown man health. We're going to be talking about the cancers that's affecting the silent killers that's affecting our Black and brown men in the community. We're going to be talking about colon cancer. We'll be talking about pancreatic cancer. We'll be talking about sickle cell. They're going to be talking about Black man health. We're going to be talking about what's going on and making sure that we get the right healthcare treatment, making sure that we get the right things that's needed, and making sure we asking the right questions when we go see our medical providers, because we know a lot of times in our community, Black men won't go to the hospital and get checked. So we're trying to switch that narrative. We're trying to make going to see your doctor, going to see the healthcare professional, an important thing for the community. And then this week, we will have a special Hidden Gem segment. We're going to have 2 segments in one. We're going to have Karen Rowe. I shot her out earlier. She's going to be coming on from the Child Support Family Services. She's going to come on next Tuesday at 6 p.m. talk about some of the things that they're doing that's impacting the people in our community in a positive way, about this child support and family court. We got some amazing things that we talking about for the future. So we'll have her on from 6 to 7 next Tuesday. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll jump right into our regular Hidden Gem segment. We're going to have our young people, some phenomenal young people that's going to be coming on that we're going to be paying homage to, that's doing some phenomenal things in our community. And we have some business owners that's going to be on as well. So looking forward to Tuesday. It's going to be busy. It's going to be packed, but we're going to make it happen. We ain't going to stop. We're going to keep pushing and make it happen, because that's what we're trying to do here, is be intentional with our community, making sure that they get the information and the resources. We want to eliminate these excuses, because a lot of people say we don't know about this, we don't know about that. So that sister's going to come on and give you guys some information that's going to help community out. I think it's going to be very, very, very powerful and impactful. So looking forward for next Tuesday, Hidden Gems. It's going to be a special show. And then, like I said, this weekend, tomorrow is going to kick off the San Francisco Black Hero, Unsung Black Heroes and Sheroes. It's going to be a nice event. Tomorrow's the pre-party. Please join us. Come tap in and get to meet some of the heroes and sheroes and get to see some of the community. Just proud of Black San Francisco. We should be proud. We're coming together. We're trying to unify. We're trying to do the things to make sure that we recognize. We know our numbers is small, but we're here together in unity, and we will continue to fight and push for the things that we need to succeed in the city. So just go appreciate that event. And then Saturday, we'll have the actual event. It should be fun. It should be just nice to see some of the legends of the community that's doing amazing things. So looking forward to that event, and it should be happening. So with that being said, you guys know how to reach out to us, bothsidesofconversation.org. Don't forget to hit that donate button, because we need community support to keep this thing going. And we know community have been going there, and we've been supporting community, and that's what we got to do to amplify what we're doing. Got to support each other, patronize each other, and we've been doing it, and you guys been doing it too. So thank you to all the people that's been supporting and watching us, getting behind us. We love y'all and we thank y'all. With that being said, this is the end of this segment. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed one. Be safe. Remember your finances. Get your credit in check and make sure you do the things that you need to do so you can leave generational wealth to your family. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.